Nasa na
Hello?
prayer?
Hello, hello.
Oo,
Ayan.
di pa tayo ng prayer.
And we are live. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Baka hindi na naman naririnig. Dapat naririnig.
Oh,
Salita nga kayo, guys. Double check natin kung naririnig kayo.
Yo, hello, what's up, what's up?
hello.
So welcome, good evening everyone to another wonderful Level Up Geek Night podcast where we talk about all things geekery and things related to the Lord. Amen. Amen.
Sure. Well, I haven't heard that for a while.
So, we are a group of gamers, geeks, hobbyists who have passion for the Lord as well. That's why we do these podcasts and we talk about different topics. And we don't shy away from our faith. Yes, importante yun.
Of course.
So by the way, my name is John B. I am the Christian Geek, and together I have the Level Up crew, introducing, of course, our Father Bear, Gio.
Father Bear.
Yes, because he takes care of our online guild in
yeah,
Final
that's-
Fantasy. He's like a Father Bear,
It's like a Papa Bear there.
Papa Bear. And of course, we have our Chibi-chan Otaku. Anything anime, you can ask her. She probably knows it. Tonight, we don't have our resident chef, but that's okay. We are well fed tonight. We have food. I have burgers and I have nuggets, so you know.
You're fed with love in the Lord.
And yes. And of course, our number one backer, financial backer, just kidding.
Nagbabak lang ako.
Pag may nanghihingi ng finances, nagbaback away siya.
Oo. Bye!
Of course, our COO, child of our owner, John G.
Yes, the Lord is my owner. Yeah!
Yes.
I was gonna say we're all COOs.
Child of owners.
The Lord is our owner. Alright.
So, what are we doing and talking about? And then, sorry.
Because he's our father. He owns everything.
Yes, and we are heirs. Wow.
We are his child. Very true.
Ano yun? Ano tawag doon sa mga Korean drama pag heir ka? may term yun eh. Nakalimutan ko na eh.
Di ko alam. Di ko na Korean.
We don't have enough Korean novella.
Wala si Ninay eh.
Wala sa si Ninay.
Ano nga yun? Alam ko may name yun eh. Chaebol, yun.
Oh, so this.
Yes. Anyway, so tonight we're gonna talk about. It is fitting that we're talking about heirs because what we're going to be talking about are leaders, and specifically we are continuing our discussion on leaders. This time around, we're gonna focus on the attack from the east, or leaders from anime, manga, and of course we will also talk about fictional leaders from video games.
Video games, yes.
Yes.
We kind of missed out on video games last time.
Yes.
We
And-
focus a bit more on literature, books, and movies. Last.
We did.
Okay, so while I'm eating, I will ask someone to take over. John?
Okay, so I guess just kind of diving into it. So leaders, right? So again, the reason why we're discussing fictional leaders, or why we are tossing back and forth mga fictional leaders, is because syempre election season na here in the Philippines. So next week, in about 10 days, did I get my math right? 7 days.
7 days.
In 7 days, a week from now, we will be having our national election. So that's why we're discussing this. So it's a good thing to talk about. Like, sino ba yung mga magandang leaders or interesting leaders in fiction? So we tackled books, comics, and stuff last week. So this time around, we're gonna try to focus more on like what the video games that we play, about the anime and manga that we've read or watched. So these are the mediums we try to focus a little bit more on this time around.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
awesome indeed.
So with that being
So,
said, I want to start off with kasi may pumasok sa utak na franchise para sa akin that both addresses a leader from the east and it's also a video game, which is Red Alert 3.
Oh my God.
Command and Conquer Red Alert 3. Right?
All right. So
Now,
who is our master?
okay. So, just to give a background, Command and Conquer Red Alert 3 is a game where it's an alternate fiction where what do you call this? Hitler died and Russia took over. So Russia ang naging kalaban ng West. However, in Red Alert 3, somebody tried to redo history again, and this time may lumabas na third enemy called the Empire of the Sun. Obviously, Japan. Right?
Japan.
Japan. So, and ang emperor doon is played by George Takei of Star Trek.
Why? None other than George Takei.
So, parang ano, naalala ko lang kasi, I mean, it was one of those things in video games na, oh, my emperor is George Takei. And if you're a geek kasi, kilala mo talaga si George Takei. And so, parang, but whether or not he was a good leader is beyond because he tends to fall into to the Japanese stereotype of leaders, no. If you're familiar with old school leaders, old school Japanese leaders that is portrayed in dramas or in anime, medyo ganun yung style niya, yung parang it's all about honor, it's all about tradition, and it's all about glory, no. And sometimes yung actions nila is devoid of compassion because nga for the glory of Japan and for the motherland, ganun. No?
It's a very Red Alert. Of course, disclaimer to everyone: Red Alert is a video game parody of cultures. I mean, come on, when your imperial leader of Russia is Tim Curry, don't expect it to be serious, please. So, I mean, this is like a comedy of errors. So it might not fit in a politically correct modern day. It's not supposed to be. It's like a stupid comedy talaga of a game.
Yeah, I would say nga ano, and they what they call this the characters in the game, yung mga at least from the Empire na faction, they're all like they look like samurai. They wear samurai armor. I mean, why do you need samurai armor if you're leading from
They're with like super robots with mega guns. It's like what?
Yeah.
It's a really funny.
Yeah. So anyway, yun lang to start it off. George Takei, and George Takei has actually been he's almost always portrayed as a leader role, no. Pero in this case nga, ang character ng Emperor dito very traditional, old school na and naisip ko nga na parang leaders, okay yung leaders that are, ako for me, naniniwala ako that leaders that adhere to like tradition is good, but it shouldn't be parang hindi siya dapat one-dimensional na yun lang, na yung they're only thinking about tradition and power and because that becomes where, how do I put it, parang susceptible to abuse yun. Parang pwede siya maging vulnerable na magkaroon ng abuse. Sabi nga ni Aunt May at ni Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility.
Access. Sorry. I was great electric bills. Okay, terrible answers. Let's go on.
Go, John. That's it for me.
So yeah, I guess throwback to the past. Actually, I also was thinking like, ano yung mga games inisip? Because like one of the games I love to play, which features all the leaders of the world, is Civilization. But it's kind of hard to use that game because it's literally all the world leaders, right?
Yes.
So I had to like think of
with all the stereotypes pa.
With all of the worst stereotypes, especially in the earlier editions of the game, right? And Gandhi being a joke, like he was a guy of peace, but in the game he's like a nuclear warmonger. But anyway, obviously it's meant as a joke, not as a serious thing. But yeah, ano ba yung ibang games na nilaro na leadership kasi is something that I didn't really pay attention to when I was younger with the games I played. Like, you have heroes, but are the heroes always leaders? Yung mga ganun.
No, I
So,
think in many cases, I think in a lot of video games, um, heroes are, what do you call this? Unaffiliated types. Madalas sa mga video games.
yeah.
But with a few
Yeah.
exceptions, no? I would say a few exceptions, like, for example, Commander Shep. Commander Shepard.
Commander Shepard. Okay, now that is a great example of a leader and a hero. So, Nina, unfortunately, is not here, but I love Commander Shepard, especially since well, you basically play him or her, depending on if you're male or female persona. And super galing kasi the kind of leader that you are depends naman on your reactions and interactions with your crew and the people in the world. So you can be a very inspiring leader, you know, get in there, help them out kind of guy. Or you could be a very like bully kind of leader, you know, renegade path na I'll do anything to get the mission done even if I have to shoot you. And I don't so yung mga ganun, like it's very interesting how the two major paths kind of work out. So, but definitely, yeah, Commander Shepard is a leader and a hero. Um, I think the canon Commander Shepard tends to be the more charismatic type, and if you go with the quote unquote perfect endings, the endings where people don't die because you take the time to build your bond and teamwork with your teammates, which mechanically speaking means that you actually end up getting them their special stuff.
Hmm.
So it means that their survival in the game gets a lot higher, and it's a story check. Like, did you take time to do the special missions with your teammates? If you did, they're good. If they didn't, then they might die. So I guess in real life it's kind of like that. Like, not that your friends will die, but more like in relationships that you build with people, you really have to take time and spend time to like get down. And especially as a leader, you have to build a certain degree of connection with the people you work with the people you are. So I think that's just drawing from the Shepherd, Commander Shepherd, Mass Effect. I said the whole thing, but I didn't say Mass Effect. Wonderful.
I think in Mass Effect kasi na world, it's very politically charged. And so I think the most effective leaders talaga are the leaders that know how to balance force, brute force, and being charming. No, just kidding. I mean, being diplomatic. Of course, being charming, of course, helps a lot in being diplomatic.
Taking the extra effort to work things out with people. Actually.
Yes. So, let's ask the others.
Yes, perhaps you have different games that you'd like to introduce. I know Maya has one big game that she plays, which has tons of leaders in it.
Actually, there are for me, two notable leaders. I'll be talking about my one and only game.
No,
that I,
Big game.
and one minor game that has been introduced to her already.
yeah,
Beat the
I haven't gotten so far sa ano pa.
Okay.
SIE. Ate. Pero sa Genshin, malayo-layo na yung natahak ko doon. Kaya madami na rin characters ako kita. And nakikilala. So, I guess yung um, well, marami actually sila kasi iba't ibang regions. But I want to focus on the region of Inazuma kasi parang doon talaga pinakita yung leadership ng mga leaders doon. So one is si Raiden Shogun. she is the um and deity siya doon, but also the ruler of Inazuma. Like I've mentioned in our past podcast about Raiden Shogun, she has been monitoring parang ruling or governing the Inazuma country remotely because she is um kind of like she isolated herself in her own consciousness. So parang she let the AI rule and govern the country um, on its own. And the AI is kind of like, inano lang siya, sinet lang siya, pinrogram lang siya. And so, alam naman natin na AI are bound to, like, yeah, go haywire. So, in a sense, ganun din yung nangyari. Masyadong strict daw, um, masyadong parang na-imprison na yung mga citizens ng Inazuma. And so, nagkaroon tuloy ng faction. The other side naman, who is against the Raiden Shogun, or rather the edict na vision hunt na galing kay Raiden. Yun yung against sila. And the leader of that faction is Kokomi, si Kokomi. So she is a slight priestess actually, but because she comes, I think she comes from a line of leaders din talaga. She kind of took up the cape, so to speak, ng leadership for the region of Watatsumi, which is a different island from the Inazuma City.
Alright.
So ayun, they were so yung leadership style naman ni Kokomi, she's very close to the people. The people that she's governing, or the people that even her army, she's very caring for her soldiers, caring for her people, to the point that she's kind of overworking herself. Ganun siya. So,
Opposite.
sorry?
It's kind of the opposite.
Well, there was there was a story quest. Talagang in-depth sa, sa story ni Kokomi na she tends to overwork herself kasi siya although she's caring, although she cares for her people, she's also a by the book kind of leader na ito gawin natin to ganyan. So you have a lot of options, you have a lot of na according to these rules, according to the um to the set rules that I have for you. So if we do this, maybe we can get good results. So ayun, she tends to overwork herself in that. So basically, after Raiden Shogun's parang enlightenment, ayun na yung nawala na yung edict, nawala na yung vision hunt decree, and so basically the nations are at peace now. So nagkaroon sila ng ayun, may diplomatic din sila, may diplomatic treaties or pagkakasundo. And I think with that, parang naman na at peace na yung Inazuma. So you see here yung difference on how Raiden Shogun leads nung before she was enlightened, and how Kokomi led her people against the edict na sobrang strict pa para sa nation or sa people. Yeah, basically.
So like you have one who originally was very hands-on, two hands, and it's also them and no heart, no person. And then yung isa naman is also very systematic, pero overworking and it's always too close to the scene to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Na she has to learn how to back off.
Because I think it's kind of like micromanaging na din ng mga tao na.
You know what's interesting that I figure that, you know, most leaders aren't perfect eh. And so parang number one, I think for a leader to be effective, they have to recognize that they aren't the be all end all of leaders. Kasi when leaders claim to be the best, usually they are not able to see their shortcomings. So parang ano na, I'm just listening to you, naisip ko lang na yung a leader talaga kailangan ano no, natututo, is able to change and adapt, no? And when they realize their mistakes, they are able to adapt and change and learn to become better.
Yeah.
Actually, they have to have the best leaders have a good sense of humor.
Yes. So ibig sabihin ano lang, parang kasi really the only leader that is perfect is God, eh, is Jesus. So parang no, parang but so parang to come to that standard, you have to realize sino ka compared kay Jesus. And ma-realize mo hindi ka talaga perfect eh. Na marami kang mga flaws na kailangang baguhin or kailangan ma-unlearn or I guess learn to become better, ganon.
You could say that you have to recognize that you're always someone who should be learning.
Yeah. So wala tayong
And
ano
also siguro, if you have a standard na, alam mo yun, parang sobrang perfect. Parang it keeps you on your feet to always pursue not perfection, pero the best that you can. So, as we've always been taught in church, diba? Have Jesus as your standard. Kasi si Jesus perfect siya eh. Syempre tayo, ano ba naman tayo compared kay Jesus, diba? So, we're kind of like always striving for the best. Kasi yung perfection is when we meet Jesus Christ. So,
Siguro striving for excellence. Kasi di ba we're told to all the time. So similarly, leaders should have the same mindset siguro. Now, if you want to be a leader, what is your purpose here? And you can see that in the leaders that you mentioned, so Genshin, at least at the heart, they wanted to take care of their people.
Yeah.
Even if they were going about it in a way that might not have been the best.
Yeah, I would think that ano talaga, true leaders are leaders that understand that it's not about them. It's about the people that they are serving, no? So parang although they have the title of leader, they're actually servants. Eh. They're actually there at the hindi naman beck and call, but at the behest of the people they're serving, no. So parang and I think that's that's the difference of a good leader versus someone who's just a boss.
Yeah, you could say that. That's true. Kasi yung buwang angle. Wala lang. It's a hierarchy lang. Like, or you could say, I guess maybe another way for me to spin it is like a boss is a leader, but it's not like he or she may not be a good leader. So they're still in a position of authority, but you may not be effective. You may not be very good as a leader. So anyway, that's just semantics, I guess. But that's just how I see it. Yeah.
All right. How about Gio? Let's ask Gio.
Yes. Will you introduce a game thing to us?
An anime or game leader?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how about this? Something new or one of the newer animes to come out uh, from Spy Family.
Ooh.
The Twilight. Twilight ba? Spy,
Yeah.
the father, him. Because I just watched yung latest episode before. Uh, see, but he's a very objectives oriented person, but he's learning as well how to actually care for others as well.
Okay, right. It's cool. It's cool.
So like, yeah, it's important to I feel like okay, it's important to get the job done, but then yeah, it's also important to know the people you're trying to lead with.
Mhm.
I think that I think that's a really good thing to think about. Say, parang, what's the point of being the leader if you don't even know who you're leading?
That's
Yeah.
true.
I think yun nga,
They need.
he's learning kasi as a spy, he's learned not to trust other people. But because of the yung operations fix, um he was forced to
Step it up.
work with people, and somehow it falls on the shoulders of the people he's around, yung success ng mission. So now he's learning to trust people.
Oh. So I like the somewhat spoiler free ano what do you call it? Description. Because I haven't watched it yet, so I'd like to watch it. So thank you for not spoilerizing any details. I'm not sure if I want to watch it though, but I'll see. I'll see. Mukhang okay naman.
I think it's one of those animes where after a while it becomes very heartwarming because how much they've actually come to care for how much they come to care for each other. Like actually care and not because of the whole
Not just up for job. That sounds cool. That sounds great. Sige. I will put it on my watch list. Maybe we can do that one of these nights. Watch that. Anyway, sige, ano po? Since we're starting to drift into anime, we can think about who are anime leaders. So in anime, I think there's a lot more options. Yeah, no, but there are definitely more options, I think, because the nature of games is usually are the hero and leader. But in anime, you have a bigger story that you can explore. So you feature things differently. So, sino ba?
Anime ba?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Hmm.
So I have a few in mind, but I don't want to jump into the details. Ano?
Sino ba to? Si Shield Hero.
Oh,
Sinasabi.
Oh yeah.
okay, Gio, go take it. It's yours.
Alright. So yeah. I'm a big hero fan here. I've been advocating for its anime release even before
Nag-anime.
when but yeah, so just for context for everyone here, so like so Nafumi is the main character. He's going to become the chief hero. And essentially how it starts out is people think he's evil. And honestly he's not exactly gonna be a great hero because all he can use is a shield and he can't fight on his own.
You can
But I think that's also but this is also the start of how he actually is a great leader because he learns how to use strengths of other of his subordinates. Yeah, I guess the word is subordinates or slaves or whatever you want to call it. They call it
his
they're,
complaints.
they're officially called slaves, but he doesn't treat them as such.
Well, he has to call them that because in the game,
Yeah.
in the world he's in, he technically liberates them kasi he buys.
Yeah. He buys them, but he doesn't treat them any different from other people.
Yeah, he treats them like a normal person. So it's like it's really cool.
Parang the way
Like-
that The way God treats us as slaves. Yes.
That's true because actually yes, the word used diba, is you become slaves to Christ. But the kind of slave you are is actually a very well you're treated as family, honestly,
Mhm.
right? And the good kind of family, not
Yeah, because I believe he
the
sees
bad family.
Natalia as his daughter.
That is a different issue altogether.
But that's the point. But he treats them as family.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like yeah, so you can tell a lot about the leader based on how their subordinates see them. Diba? 'Cause who else would talk like I mean who else better to get the opinion of than the person who is voting for their slave.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, so like for Raftalia's sake, he actually took care of her when she was sick.
Mm.
Um, uh, she had a cough. He would make her medicine. He'd force her to drink it because he knew that was the way it was to
To help her.
But other than that, he's also a good leader combat wise.
Mm.
Like he's literally their commander. He's gotten to the point. I don't. Yeah, he's gotten to the point where he's like revered by by everyone. Like despite his reputation as evil or what people
Yeah,
have mis.
because obviously being a shonen anime, there is a redemption arc eventually. So later on down in the story, you see a bit of the redemption thing, and of course, good qualities can start.
Mhm.
So
May
okay, how
nag-iisip,
about you, John?
nag-iisip ako, are there anime leaders that hindi mo mapeg kung bad ba sila or good?
Si ano?
See,
Go.
MHA. The blind guy.
From
The NH.
Blonde? Are you talking about si Bakugo or si?
Oh.
Makugo.
Bakugo is not blonde, but yes.
He's
No.
too.
He's blonde. He's blonde.
He's blonde.
Sorry.
Which anime are you watching?
He's blonde. He's blonde, but it's just that his outfit kind of I forget about his hair.
His outfit
Like,
is
red,
black and
blue,
red. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like his outfit is so red and explodey and stuff. It's like, all right, he's got blonde hair there.
But honestly, ako
Yung ganun yung nakikita
It's a
mo.
different kind of motivator.
He is not okay. I would say he's a good character, good in the sense like interesting. I don't really like him, but he's an interesting character. I don't think he's a leader.
yeah, I agree. I don't
I
think
don't
he's
think-
much of a leader.
Well, but the part na hindi mo alam kung good pa siya. Yun
That 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 is a.
Pero alam mo,
He's a bad good guy.
ako kasi the way I look at Bakugo ng una, I was wondering nga eh. Sabi ko, I was really when I was watching the series, nung pinapanood ko pa lang siya ng bago, I was like, please don't be a bad guy. Alam mo yung nararamdaman na, alam mo yung trope na
Yeah.
the parang good, parang rival of the bida sa turns bad. And there was like
I kind of like that they didn't go that way.
tapos may at one part yung kinapture nga si Bakugo na don't tell me na mag-change siya dito, please don't.
Yes.
Pero nang hindi siya nag-change, and I felt like from that on, na-cement sa utak ko na he just really has an attitude problem. But he has
kind of forget sometimes that these guys are teenagers with superpowers, and that doesn't make maturing easy.
But
I had a superpower as a teenager, I would be even worse as
basically naisip ko, he's got an attitude problem, but he's got
He does.
principles. May prinsipyo siya. So he's not
He's got a lot of integrity.
he's got integrity that he's not going to just switch just because he was slighted, no?
Just
Yeah.
because he thinks someone getting above him in terms of
Oo.
fighting power.
Yeah.
Because he knows his ultimate goal is to be a hero.
Yes, and being a bad guy is not going to help.
His reaction is to get angry at the person and try to beat them at being a hero, no matter how bad it is. Which is funny, but it's like, dude, you're so
Okay.
awesome. But okay.
I got a character.
Sure, go.
Hindi ko alam kung leader, ano ba siya? Leader pa
Oh, no, let's
We'll discuss if they are.
Si Eren.
Eren Yeager.
Yeah.
Eren Yeager is
No,
No, not a leader.
I wouldn't call him a leader.
no, but he is a person
He is-
of influence.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Influences, I wouldn't
that
say
is
he's a
true.
good leader.
But the thing is, kasi he is not an official leader, but de facto, kasi a lot of the characters turn to him and his direction. So I think that I would argue that he is a leader because he stirs the hearts of significant people within the story. So
He did in the latest episodes, I think he did become a leader of a group, of a faction.
like he actually became the
I
head.
don't think so. I feel like he was more like an ace in the hole than a leader. Like he was more like, oh, here's our best soldier kind of thing.
Definitely, he was an ace in the hole type also, but I think towards the end, because of who he was, and because all of the other aces in the hole basically listened to him, he was a leader to a small group of people, and it happened to be that that small group of people was very influential. So he's not a leader in the traditional, like a lot of people army kind of sense. He was a leader in a he was a small group leader. he was. He was. He was a cell group leader. Oh no. And he led that cell in a very bad way. Tingnan mo, see, what can one person do? Kalat siya ng ano, his political ideology went like
Ito.
So,
Here's a
Eren
leader.
Yeager.
Here's a leader. I don't know if you... Kasi ako hindi ko siya masyado napanood. Pero I always got the impression na hindi ko magets kung... Siya yung protagonist ng series. Pero hindi ko magets kung good guy
Okay.
siya o bad guy.
Okay.
What do you call this? Yung si Lelouch from Code Geass.
Ah, Lelu. Oh, he's a very interesting character. He definitely is a leader figure.
Leader figure talaga siya.
Definitely leader
Oo.
figure. Definitely a leader figure.
Pero I was... kasi I remember of the things that I've seen, I didn't really watch the entire series, no? But of the things I've
Yeah.
seen, I feel like hindi ko maintindihan kung is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? What is he? Parang ganon.
he's a very great character kasi. That's what.
I think that's the whole point of the anime.
Yeah.
It's very gray na just these people aren't totally right, but they're not exactly wrong either, or they're not absolutely wrong either. What they're trying to achieve.
Ano, parang nangyayari kasi is he's okay. So one, he is a charismatic, intelligent, and effective leader, but his moral character and what he wants and how he does it is what makes him great. Because he parang, well, okay, I'll admit I didn't watch all the series and all the spin-offs and everything, but season 1 and 2 I'm familiar with, which I think is the what really kicked it off anyway, in Code Geass and Lelouch. So ability wise, really good. Ethics and direction,
Questionable.
really problematic. Which describes some other leaders.
That describes a lot of political leaders in today's world.
Yeah, actually, it also describes a lot of current and past political leaders of our country. Yes,
Yung alam
Like,
mong
I think
effect.
that's the problem usually, right? It's the moral fiber and the ethics of the leaders, and it's not really their ability, because there are a lot of leaders who have good ability. They know how to talk, they know how to think, good IQ, good background, ano sila, they know how to work and all these things. The problem is, what do they do with their talents and abilities?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Which is which is
that kind of reminds me of something actually, another character.
Yeah.
sure.
As
Go.
he removed from that time I reincarnate that's his line.
Yeah.
One of the phrases they mentioned there was
Okay.
power and ideals kind of. So like
Okay.
what powers without ideals is just um chaotic or something. And then you can't really and then ideals without power. Like you have nothing to actually
You have nothing. It's just
you have nothing because you just have ideals. So you
I don't know,
really
siya,
know if you want to
sentimental.
actually
I think sentimentality lang. Kasi ideals without any power is sentimental.
exactly. So like that's the whole thing. That's why he wants to grow stronger because the point of him becoming stronger is so that he can actually not change within his community
Yeah.
to protect them. So like
Correct.
Yeah.
So
But
he's a great character. He starts off small with his own village of goblins. Later on,
Kita yung genres natin.
yes. So like then he gets what? He gets the help of some dwarves to help rebuild tools, architecture, eventually get others. And and there is a reason why he's bringing all these other people with him. Again, the in the end of it all, it's because they all trust him. They see what he they don't always see what he wants to bring out, but they know they can trust him specifically. They know him.
I think
that
that's
well.
I think that's really the mark of a good leader when you can get the loyalty of the people you're leading without having to use fear or manipulation. No?
Yes. Yes.
Na
Or
yung
even without having to explain anything.
organic ba?
That is really hard to do in reality.
It
You
is.
don't
But
have to explain. That is like the so high up there. You don't see that outside of small groups.
Yeah.
Of people.
So yung yung idea na hindi sila yung organic nga yung nila, loyalty, hindi siya pinilit, it wasn't forced, it wasn't out of fear, and it isn't out of manipulation. Because those things, if loyalty comes from those things and those things disappear, mawawala agad yung loyalty eh. Loyalty na
Actually, hindi nga siya, I wouldn't say it's loyalty nga eh. It's just obedience.
Oo.
It's forced compliance.
Oo. So, ang mangyayari, unlike real loyalty, no, regardless of these factors, they will keep loyal because kilala nila yung character mo, kilala ka nila, they communicate to you, etc. Although yung
Yeah,
niisip ko nga na with morally gray characters, however, it really is it it really is always a question of yung para sa akin na the end justifies the means. Does it really justify the means? Yung parang to achieve a certain goal, you will do everything in your power to achieve it, even if it means doing something bad or something that is morally
harmful to others.
no. And ako I always have problem with that eh. Ako kasi I always have problems with ganong characters na parang willing to do anything to achieve their goal. Pero at what cost? Kumbaga,
Yeah, true. At what cost?
At what- 'di ba? Kasi parang naisip ko like how it is in the Bible where 'di ba parang what would it profit a man if he was to gain the whole world but lose his soul, 'di ba? Na parang what would profit the man if he was to gain everything that he was trying to achieve but he did so by cheating and lying and killing and stealing. So parang naging profit ng taong 'yon? So parang nalulose yung point eh. And I think leaders like that are mahirap ng ganung kind of leader eh. Yung parang you actually replace the how do I put it? Yung parang you become the leader that you do not want to become in the first place. Gets nyo ba? Yung parang you're fighting for a good cause, but because you want to achieve that good cause, you compromise. So you just became the leader that you're trying to fight against.
Mhm.
Yung irony would be like, if you're a leader who's like, I'm not here for a good cause. I'm here because I just want to be in power. So, which is actually a lot. Most leaders are like that. They want to be in power. They want to have a good life. That's why they come into power.
Naisip
And
ko,
most politicians actually, for all of their, how do you say, for all of the good things they say, yung mga platitudes and motherhood statements, right? Fundamentally, if you look at how they behave, they just most treat the position as a means to an end, a means to a comfortable life,
Mhm.
rather than the original intent of service, which is to serve the people.
Yeah.
I know it's very idealistic, but I mean, we're talking about these things, and
Yeah.
so
I will deviate a
yeah.
bit. Naalala ko lang bigla yung Hunger Games. That's why it's a deviation. And I
Yeah,
remember,
it's been on my mind actually.
'di ba? Kasi 'di ba yung
Sure,
you have President
it's a good study. It's a good study.
we have President Snow, which is the original leader of the of Pan Am, who is a corrupt leader. We all know he's a corrupt leader. He's a bad leader. Tapos, um, the president of the 13th district was supposed to be the one to replace President Snow. But na-realize din ni na-realize din ni Katniss that she is the same kind of leader as President Snow is. No, she wasn't going to be uh, parang she's also the type of leader parang at all costs must replace. Though she although she was the leader of the resistance, in the end she was the same kind of leader as the leader that she was replacing. And so, 'di ba nga yung ending nun pinatay nga niya, spoilers. Pinatay ni Katniss.
It's been
Gasp.
well. It isn't obvious this entire podcast is chock full of spoilers for all the things we're discussing.
So yun.
It's hard to discuss the characters themselves.
Of course, exactly. You can't do a character analysis without spoilers. So
Wala lang,
sorry,
pumasok
guys.
lang sa utak ko yun na galing, ganun yung parang interesting na character study where you have a leader who's supposed to be the leader of the resistance, they're the good guys, pero actually yung character ng leader na yun is almost the same as the leader that they're trying to replace.
Parang ang nangyari is actually same kind of ugali sila. It's my way or the highway. This is the right way to do things. It just happens that they represent different communities. It happened to be that President Snow happened to be the community of the privileged capital, and si ano happened to be the community of the ones who did not win or work out in the war, diba? They just happened to be on opposite sides. But yung type of character was they were ambitious, power hungry, they wanted to take control. Sila lang yung may correct vision of what things are supposed to be. It actually, in a certain sense, mas swabe nga si President Snow, right?
Yeah.
For me, he was actually a bit smoother about how he did it. He was a bit more, at least
Indirect.
upfront with his, parang, this is how it is. Parang ganun. So,
Actually, parang
that's it.
parang pragmatic
Yes.
na parang pragmatic lang na, yeah, ganit, it's really just how it is. It's not like, you will die. Walang
No, he was just very pragmatic. Just pragmatic given the rough world they were in. So like, this is how you survive. This is how you stay in power. This is how you should do things. Not that we agree with that, of course. But it was he was kind of straightforward for a
Kasi,
political.
when I think about it,
villain.
mas rude pa nga yung yung president of the rebellion of the 13th district.
She was more. I just want to use the word duplicitous.
Yeah.
Yes. What's another way to say that?
Sneaky.
Sorry. She was more.
She was more Machiavellian.
Yes. And Two-Face. She was more Two-Face.
That's exactly what Machiavellian is.
Okay, we're not. That is another debate. Discussion, not debate. Discussion. So,
Just kidding, guys. But really, di ba, parang ano nga, it's really another, the character was actually more shrewd. Mas cunning siya, mas meron siyang mga ano, na, na hindi napapansin kagad din ng tao. In fact, hers was more under the surface.
A lot of the characters there were very cunning and two-faced.
That's true.
I mean, what about Gale? Remember, he made the bomb that killed so many.
That's
He
true.
designed that bomb.
That's true. That's true. All right. So let's move on from Hunger Games because it's not anime or video game. Unless you count Hunger Games, the video game.
no.
No, I don't count
mean-
anything that was based off.
I'm just kidding.
No. We can't say that. We can't say that. There is stuff
We
very
can say Lord of the Rings.
because it was they have had very good game adaptations. So, getting off topic. Other good leaders. A couple of final thoughts. I have two series, three actually. Sorry, that I want to throw in. Kasi biglang naging four, but I'm just gonna throw them in the air. Okay. I'm sure we can bounce off. These were the big manga anime shows of the 2000s, and some of them are still running today.
Like what?
Let's
Naruto?
Let's go with the one that died the earliest. Sorry, Bleach.
Wow, ang bilis na.
So Aizen. Oh,
It's like a comeback though.
it is kind of making a comeback, but it hasn't like fully exploded into comeback yet. So I'm still gonna consider it like.
Low key.
Well, naisip ko, sige, si Aizen. Aizen was a very interesting leader there.
Yeah, very influential person.
Very Machiavellian.
Machiavellian.
But he was a very strategic guy. And I have to confess, I didn't read the last story arc of the original series of Bleach. I do know he makes a comeback somewhere. I mean, grabe.
He could come back near the end of the whole series.
Yes, he does. He does. Because he was imprisoned, right? And then that's the final story arc. That super prison. So I have to go through that. I can't spoil myself. I just keep forgetting to read that manga ending. But anyway, the point is the high point of Bleach really was the Aizen arc. And again, another great example of a extremely powerful, intelligent, cunning character manipulating so many people for his own ends, which is ultimately revealed at the very end of the manga. But I can't disclose that just yet. Because nakalimutan ko pa. Forgot to read the last
I
story.
haven't read it.
So it's something we can tackle. So alam ko lang basta magka-comeback yan. So ayun.
Comeback
So,
boy.
Yeah, so nice. I don't know actually if they're sino yung good leaders dun eh. Kasi there are powerful leaders, but who are actually good leaders in Bleach? You know,
Yeah, there's a lot.
there's a lot of interesting leaders, but who's an actually good leader?
Oh, I mean, I'm trying to think. What's his name? The guy with the ice dragon thing.
Si ano? Yeah. Sorry. Hyukin,
Young,
the young guy.
but he's, I think, very well respected.
Yorin Maru. No.
Yeah.
That was his sword. Sorry, I remember the sword, but not the cap.
Let me check.
Yes, just Google it. But okay, so why would you say he is a good leader?
I don't know. I mean, just throughout the whole story, he's actually, first of all, I think he's been very consistent with how he's been portrayed.
Yeah,
Anyway, his name is Hitsugaya. So
Gaya. There you go. It's been so long. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. It's been so long.
It has been very
But yeah, I mean, he one of his goals, honestly, like as a person, is really his goal is just to, I think, make a better place for him and his childhood friend. What's her name?
Matsumoto.
Yeah, the one, the the vice captain of Aizen.
Ah, yeah. It's easy, like, I'm sorry, it's easier to remember her because she's like one of the most cosplayed characters.
Sino? Yung si ano?
That girl.
That girl?
Matsumoto.
That girl. Gusto ko yung that
The
girl.
brunette, redhead. I don't know. She's a redhead-ish, I guess. But yeah, Matsumoto.
Si Rangiku.
It's a guy. Okay, cool. Yeah, he has a very good altruistic goal. So definitely his
I think
direction.
he's like very upfront then with how what wants to happen.
Yeah, he is. And he's smart. I like him. He's smart.
Yeah,
Actually.
that too.
He's actually
And
just
he's not just a meathead. Some what's his name? Kenpachi Zaraki.
Kenpachi. Oh gosh, that was a really nice one. Kenpachi's story arc, and then the real Kenpachi. Anyway, never mind. Nerding out at a different time. But that was a really good story arc. She was also a good lead. So they were not the basta. Okay yun. So it's an actually interesting manga. I think like if he was given a second chance to kind of rework some of the storylines, it would have worked out better.
It's weird nga na that the anime was cancelled despite its popularity.
Not, Bleach?
Oo. Kasi it was actually pretty popular.
The story quality kasi was getting really wonky towards
It was getting formulaic. Kasi basically, he loses to, there's this new guy who beats him, he gets a new power, and then he beats them.
Yeah, it became very
and the new power is something innate. Oh, you were actually this kind of person.
So yeah, it's not a good one.
But is it
So that's what people got tired of.
Sorry?
was the anime true to the manga?
Except for the fillers.
There were filler arcs because they weren't able to get the stories right away, so they had to make their own.
Like ultimately, it still gave us a lot of interesting times, and I guess that's.
But yeah, they also explored yung gray morality, see like those, what are the demons?
They had the Spanish sounding name. They were also interesting characters.
But yeah, point being, parang they weren't exactly evil either. They actually became allies. Some of them became allies too.
Yeah, they were just
one of them was an ally.
They were just like doing their own thing, and they had a different society, which was kind of.
I guess the reason for the moral ambiguity thing is more because of the whole point of them is keeping the balance, not exactly just getting rid of evil spirits.
Apparently, they just needed to have this is the ecosystem. We just wanted to maintain it.
It's like a yin yang thing.
Yeah.
Like,
all right. So I guess we can move on to another one. Let's throw a different anime in before we. I'll just do last two.
I mean, if you want an anime with political leaders, you could always go for Naruto.
I was gonna say
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Naruto. Kaya nga sabi ko, big three. The big three of the 90s and 2000s. Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. So One Piece is gonna be our last.
Okay.
So Naruto first.
I'll speak in.
Still ongoing, so yes.
Still ongoing. Technically, Naruto is ongoing in Boruto, but
yeah.
Let's just stick with Naruto for now.
Yeah, I really love Naruto because I actually read the manga before the anime started. So parang when the anime starts, sabi ko, ooh, there's going to be an anime of this, and then nag-enjoy ako.
No. I actually watched the anime first. I started watching the anime back during yung kakalabas ng yung Chunin
tuning.
That was pretty early.
I watched
That was
it.
pretty early.
I watched it even before. I found out about the anime.
Mm.
11th episode pa lang. As in 11th episode of the first season pa
I
lang.
remember actually. Basta alam ko first story arc. Basta,
And ang subtitles pa ng time na yon sobrang hindi siya yung right away. Hihintayin mo talaga lumabas. Ngayon kasi, 'di ba, paglabas ng episode usually within a few hours may subtitles na. Hindi nung
Wait,
time
where did you watch? Kasi I watched Naruto on channel 2.
there was no that we
um
online. You have to stream it online because there was no way to watch it back then.
yar
Thankfully nowadays we have options for all our anime to watch it legally. So that's what of course.
I had what do you call that?
Paid flags, guys.
Yeah,
Wala
the YouTube channel.
At that time,
people watch.
At that time, I had
That's true.
LimeWire.
So we can support that. And now that we're older
Yes.
and I am now a Christian,
I am. We can afford
no
it.
more we will shy away from piracy.
Pero at the time, I remember,
Yeah.
at the time, I remember watching it via, via LimeWire. Nagda-download ako sa LimeWire.
Man, it's like so full of viruses and everything. Terrible.
Tapos, binaburn ko to CD, tapos binibenta ko sa friends ko.
Oh my God.
Meow.
Kumikitang kabuhay.
Oo, no, syempre.
So, government, we have someone who
Yes,
just given
let's do
their
that.
confession of piracy.
I don't think you could call it piracy at the time kasi wala talagang source eh.
Well, regardless,
Pero now, I mean,
I was a minor at the time, so I don't know if that's good.
I think because of that time na nagkaroon ng laws for piracy.
Actually, yeah, that was because of that. That was when the Philippines attained its reputation as a pirate capital of the world.
yes.
And then I actually tried to buy the legitimate stuff when they came out, but it was really hard to get. Like I have some original, what do you want? DVD.
Honestly, there was even that store that I'm not even sure was legitimate. Anyway, actually, we're getting off topic.
Right. So the leaders. Okay. Let's go back. So we can close.
Naruto
on
leaders.
time. So Naruto.
I mean,
Naruto has a lot of political factions. They have a lot of
leaders.
And leaders. You know, villages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
For me, I just want to start. One of my favorite leaders talaga is si what do you call this? Kakashi. I think one of the best. For me, one of the best characters in the anime and one of the best leaders. I've seen
Principles of brotherhood.
Ang galing eh. Ako kasi for me, number one, ang character niya, Naruto did not start off as a leader eh. He only really became a leader much later on in the series. Pero si Kakashi, way later.
Technically, he became a leader only at the end of the series.
Yeah.
I mean, officially.
Yes.
Officially and in practice, because he had no brains. Sorry.
Yeah, pero kasi by the time Boruto rolls in, he's actually a well-respected leader. And ako nakikita ko there are characteristics of Naruto there na pick up niya from Kakashi talaga eh. yung the way
or even Iruka.
and Iruka, yeah.
But he was technically fathered by Kakashi.
And Iruka.
I think he was fathered by Iruka.
I would say
His
it's
father
Iruka.
is
Pero
and
mentored
he was mentored by
Kakashi.
Yeah.
Pero si Kakashi kasi talaga para sa akin sobrang yung character niya na he's always calm in the middle of whatever situation that he is in. Hindi siya nagpapadala sa emotions niya. 'Di ba? Even in the story arcs where parang he's parang cornered na or whatever, hindi siya nagpapatalo eh. So parang alam mo he doesn't let
panic.
hindi siya nagpapanik.
Cool.
Yes. No, that's why he's always known as the cool guy, 'di ba? Not just because of his looks, but yung demeanor niya when facing battle.
Yeah.
And so parang and he spends siya talaga na parang he's thinking many steps ahead in any situation. Yung hindi siya parang one-dimensional focus, which Naruto tends to be. Later on, he learns better. But yung at the start, ganun si Naruto, diba? Pero si Kakashi talaga parang thinks ahead and he's always there to parang ang number one priority niya is to protect the people around him. No? And of course, we realize later on that because of his background, tragic background, kaya siya naging ganun. Pero ang galing lang na
True.
if you look at his and this is a case of Naruto has so much drama in terms of yung mga background na lahat nga kayo mag-GH nga kayo, Glorious Soup nga kayo lahat.
They have a lot of trauma.
But Kakashi dealt with his trauma in a way that was healthy. Gets nyo? Hindi siya, he did not allow, I mean, of course, may mga baggage siya, may mga regrets siya, pero hindi niya inallow yung bad things that happened to him to define who he is and who he was. Hindi siya he could have strayed off the beaten path, so to speak. He could have easily become a villain character with with the things that happened in his life, diba? And yet, he's a man of integrity, a man of principle. I guess that my only complaint sa kanya is, meron lang siyang secret hobby. Reading perverted materials.
his stress relief. But yeah, so yeah, Kakashi was a good leader. I agree.
In fact, reluctant pa nga siya nung siya yung ginawang
Naging Hokage
Hokage.
certain time.
Pero man, that show had a lot of bad leaders too.
I mean, for one thing, what did he mean? The third Hokage. Apparently, he said he would take care of Naruto, but all he did was give him money.
Oo.
Yeah, he was not a very good.
He wasn't a good leader in that sense. Like the fourth Hokage asked him to take care of Naruto, and all. That's all he did.
Give money.
That's true.
Like he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything like about the people who had a
Negative
view on him, despite him just being a kid and having
no idea.
Control over whatever happened there.
Yeah.
He just let them have that negative view on him.
Yeah, that was his biggest flaw, I would say, because he did not step up. Because it was political, no? I think it was political. There were a lot of behind-the-scenes political stuff.
It's political because he was the thing inside him.
Yeah, exactly. But that said,
but the point is, Brian, he knew what happened.
Why that was there.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, no, parang wow, he was a lousy father figure.
True,
And
even to Asuma. I mean, Asuma even that.
Asuma turned out really well, considering.
Yeah, no, but I mean, towards Asuma, the thing is like he was so bad na Asuma kind of rebelled and left.
He was a workaholic, and he was too focused on the quote unquote harmony of the village that he ended up not taking care of the people under him. So I guess this is like an example of like he wasn't but the thing is he wasn't a bad person per se. Like ethics niya, morals niya actually were okay. The problem was he did not manage the priorities of the relationships he had in his life correctly. I think that's one of the biggest things. And he was not willing to go against the flow to protect the people he should have
been
stepped up to
protecting it.
protect.
Yeah. You know who he reminds me of actually? He reminds me of David, King David.
Oh.
Although David was a good leader in terms of his nation, he was a bad leader in his family. He was not able to raise up his family well. no?
That is a good point.
And that's why laging
Same could be said for Solomon.
that's also true in a way.
Yes, Solomon also was kind of messy with his family life.
Pero kasi kay David talaga obvious na
Yeah.
uh son rapes his sister, another son kills the other son rebels. Dami talagang parang ano ba? Yung parang
He definitely had a really horrible family life.
parang
He had nothing, can't say anything about it. He had a horrible family life. Period.
'di ba? So it's really that doon ka mo makikita na just doesn't mean that if a leader is good in one aspect, doesn't mean that they're really good in all aspects of their lives. Gets mo?
Yeah.
And,
Naruto's the same too.
diba? Actually, if you think about it, na-pick up ni Naruto.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Medyo,
But I would say
he also became a workaholic to the point that his son kind of rebelled against him.
But I mean, Naruto also never. Well, he didn't have a real dad. Even if
He never had that same family life, so I can
He had a
understand.
really messy childhood, honestly. So all things
So
considered,
all things considered, like the way he turned out.
it's pretty predictable. Unfortunately, it's predictable. But well, hopefully, I think in the comics he does, and in the manga he kind of does start stepping up at some point, and not to go deep into it because we know there's a lot of stuff. But yeah, he basically he starts coming into his own as a father during the course of Boruto. That's one of the major tensions.
to be fair, actually, when I look at the leaders in the Boruto series, like for example, the Kages during the Boruto series, all of them are already good leaders Yung parang they already are the next generation of leaders that are trying to make a difference and a change from the old school traditional type of leadership that their predecessors were 'Di ba? Makikita mo yan sa mga characters na yun na the fact that they're able to sit down in a table together.
I think it's very possible because of the war that all of them went through when they were younger. And having a common enemy threaten everyone, and we all had to help save each other's lives, can be a very strong unifying factor.
Training point.
Yeah, common.
It's like-
Pero that also-
this guy's gonna kill us.
Also,
Like,
that
we all had to
also
save each other's lives.
it also reinforces that the old school talaga na leadership is really makikita mo very autocratic, very fascist. I mean, at the end of the day, if you think about it, 'di ba? Sino ba yung
Okay, I'm not
Sin-
gonna.
sino ba yung mga leaders na yon? I mean, like for example, yung reincarnated na first 'di ba?
Yeah,
Na
yeah.
for yung head clan leader ng ng mga Itachi.
Yeah,
Tapos, di ba,
you're
parang
right. They were very autocratic. They were very like, I guess. We can't really. I would say it's also a product of their own times. Then.
Yeah, that is also true.
Of course, this doesn't really excuse things, but
Are we still gonna go through One Piece?
I think we can end with One Piece.
Alright.
That's
I
it.
think you have like
Yeah. One Piece has a lot of great stuff, so I guess maybe just 2 characters and we can call it. Alright, so, ano ba? Are we gonna go with the obvious one, si Luffy?
yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't think we can talk about it without talking about Luffy.
True. Okay.
As a leader,
Honestly, he sucks.
but he has a lot of people who respect him enough to help him cover the basis of the other stuff.
Okay, I have to recant that. Luffy is a very lopsided leader. He's great in the sense that he's the guy. He's like a great friend. He's a great friend, and he has certain qualities of a leader. Like he's got a huge vision, which is always good to have in a leader. He'll always be down there for you, which is always good in a leader.
Yes.
Where he lacks is in the details. fortunately, he has a team. He has a team which totally covers that for him. So, but the good thing is that he trusts them to cover it for him. Unlike
Yeah.
some leaders in life, they have these huge grand visions, and then it's like, oh, I want to do it my way, which Luffy doesn't do. It's just like, just let's go there, and he's just like, tada, everyone, just, let's go together.
I
So
think
he's a very team player actually.
it talks about, again, babalik tayo sa character eh. I think as an anime's character. A character, a leader who has character will be followed by people regardless of whether that leader has skill. Gets mo? Susundan siya ng mga tao basta meron siyang character, may integridad. 'Di ba? People will follow.
Yeah, that is a trope definitely I think I've seen even in JR.
Wait. I will make a small edit to that.
Yes.
A leader who has integrity will be followed by people.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that if you don't have integrity, unfortunately, there are many leaders without integrity
That people
who are
follow.
followed by people because they're just so charismatic
Or na fake
or
news.
they have other qualities which bring people along with them.
Or yun nga, or na fake news sila.
Basically, na fake news sila.
No, but if
So,
you
like-
think about it, the worst leaders in anime are the ones that pretend to be charismatic, pretend to be a good leader, but are actually doing devious things. So they are fooling the people. Kaya people are following them kasi ang charismatic niya eh. No, parang truthful yung sinasabi niya, pero actually may ginagawa silang mali under the table. That in a sense, those are the kind of leaders na parang when it finally comes out, when the truth is exposed, people stop believing. When it's actually believed. Yeah.
Yes.
Alright. So yeah, so next he has lots of people who can cover his
Bases.
Basic.
where he cover for his weaknesses. Actually, was also I believe said nga in the manga or anime. I can think of in Eni's lobby, Sanji talking to Usopp. Just do what you are best at, and we'll cover you where you have everyone to cover you where
you're not.
do.
Yeah. Which is like
It's a very good principle. I mean, like you know that Luffy is a great leader because he in a way he's like imparted that kind of principles in all of them. We're not like alone. We are not great, but together, eight strong. Oh wait, wrong.
wrong. Together, apes. Well, the strongest characters on the Straw Hat Pirates are not too different from monkeys.
It's true.
All right. So to close, let's go pick one more. Let's go for one more character from what we saw that close with.
As a leader.
There's a lot of leaders. Basically,
I mean,
most of the
usually you
time-
just pick the captains.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the captains are.
Or do you want to go for an admiral, but opposite ends of the?
We could go for an admiral. I don't know. There's just so many to choose from. Kasi. So
Or you could choose a king. Neptune, Wapol.
Wapol is a very good example of a terrible leader.
Tyrant.
Yes, very tyrannical, not gonna listen to anyone, and he just literally eats people who don't follow him. Like if he didn't have that fruit that allows him to eat people, he would totally be done for. But I don't know. There's just so many good options kasi. Like that feels like a series you could just dive down and examine so many characters from.
Let's see. Maybe the audience has any.
Yeah, we have audience suggestions.
We have one other viewer. I think.
Do we have suggestions?
I don't know. I think kind of stopped after The
Shyla.
comments kind of stopped after the My Hero Academia.
Oh, I suppose that's enough then. Sige, I think we can end with Luffy.
Yeah, the Straw Hat. If ever, maybe we can talk more about that. There's a lot of great characters in that
There's a lot of great
show.
show. We could do an anime character study. So. Anyhow,
All right.
so I suppose I think that's it for tonight.
Yes.
Thanks for joining my
Alright.
friends.
Wait, China said anime lang. Yeah, I think we're gonna end it there for now. It
Yeah.
is already late.
Is 9
Yes.
something.
9:02. But tomorrow is a holiday. Woo!
Yes.
Anyway,
So-
but thanks Shyla for joining us and whoever and the other person that's watching the stream. That's probably still us.
Probably me.
It's
But you know what? It's been fun. I think we had a good insight, good talk. I hope if you are watching us tonight, or if you're on replay, please do join us here where we talk about anything under the sun, anything geekery. And if you're looking for a play group or support group, join us in Level Up. We are on Discord at http:// invite.gg/lugn. You can see the link in the comment section.
Yeah, we haven't put it up yet, but we will.
Yes.
we'll drop it in the comment section very soon.
There we go. So, with that being said, this is Level Up, and we are signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What?